From sculpting his monstrous physique by quarrying sand to sending Alistair Overeem's head into orbit, here's why everyone is scared of Francis Ngannou. First, let's get the obvious out of the way. The man is just built like a machine. The Predator stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 258 pounds of pure fighting prowess. Imagine standing on the opposite end of the octagon while you see this behemoth casually warming up to knock you out. His superhuman 83-inch reach gives him the advantage of mauling his opponents while keeping his distance. UFC commentator and podcaster Joe Rogan phrased it best: the man doesn't even need to lift weights. He's just a gigantic super athlete. Legend says Francis Ngannou got that big just from working at a sand mine. But that gifted muscular frame isn't just for show. There's a video of Ngannou having a friendly banter with NBA's friendly giant Shaquille O'Neal, and he picks him up like he's nothing but a featherweight. Now, being a free agent, Ngannou can truly use those monster arms to good use. Which reminds me, he makes Deontay Wilder's arms look like they're twigs. And don't even get me started about those tree trunk legs. UFC welterweight Stephen Thompson made the claim that Ngannou's legs would snap the GOAT John Jones in half. Even though the fight didn't pull through to see it happen, I can't just seem to disagree with Wonder Boy. But oh, can we just talk about that punching power? Yeah, picking up Shaq was a feat, but just so you know, Francis Ngannou holds the record for the hardest punch ever. In a video with Athlete Fit Clips, Ngannou's punching prowess was put to the test, and let me get you in on the results. His overhand clocked in a whopping 129,161 units, and that uppercut, you know, the one that sent Alistair Overeem's head into orbit at UFC 218, it clocks in at 122,000 units of force. His punches are stronger than those of someone who has won UK's Strongest Man multiple times, Eddie Hall. And if those statistics aren't enough to justify why Francis should be illegal in the fight game, how about the fact that his punches generate a whopping 96 horsepower? Just to put it into perspective, that's equivalent to being hit by a Ford Escort while completely flooring it. Whenever he comes swinging at his opponents, he's basically swinging a 12-pound sledgehammer with full force. Yup, these are those same hands that took out arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. Many pro fighters, including bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling, reacted to how scary that knockout was. And there's plenty more where that came from. After suffering some back-to-back losses against Miocic and the Black Beast Derek Lewis, Ngannou channeled his inner Michael Jordan and took it personally. From then on, Ngannou went on a rampage, cleaning up the heavyweight division. A total of 10 fighters have fallen victim to Ngannou's monstrous fist. And those aren't just any other names. He absolutely thrashed big boy Jairzinho Rozenstruik like he was nothing. UFC legend Junior Dos Santos has claimed that the fighter is packing more punching power than Iron Mike Tyson, claiming that he doesn't remember anything since Ngannou's fist connected with his head. And let's not forget the time Francis humbled the ferocious Cain Velasquez, casually walking away with a menacing, shushing celebration right after. If you want to sum up the carnage Ngannou leaves the octagon with, just look at Curtis Blades' face after UFC Fight Night 86. This was the time Ngannou hit Curtis so hard that it made his eye look like it had survived a bee attack, leaving him unable to continue. And oh, it didn't stop there. Francis thought, you know what? A referee's interference isn't really satisfying. The knockout artist finished Curtis Blades off in 45 seconds in their rematch. And before he abandoned ship and cut ties with Dana White, Ngannou was enjoying a menacing 6-match undefeated streak. But what really makes Ngannou so scary is his sheer determination. If we take a trip into the past, you'll come to realize that Ngannou is basically an anime antagonist in real life. I mean, if you told someone who knows nothing about MMA that there's a man who had to eat literal trash to keep up, got incarcerated for crossing the border, and went on to become the heavyweight champion of the world, you'd call me crazy. But that is the story of Francis Xavier Ngannou. Born and raised in the quaint village of Batie, Cameroon, Ngannou started working in the sand quarries at a very early age. He elaborated on his life on the Joe Rogan Experience, saying that at times, he wasn't even paid right away for his labor. Guess contractual disputes were a recurring trend in the Cameroonian's life. Okay, uncalled for, please don't kill me, Ngannou asked for it. But nothing stopped him from dreaming. His natural fighting physique caught the attention of several gangs, and he decided not to join them. The Predator Predator refused that offer, mindful of his father's reputation as a street fighter. He wanted to channel his gifts into something more positive and disciplined. He fled to Morocco, leaving home behind and wanting to get to Spain, knowing well enough that he'd be imprisoned. Anywho, he eventually ended up in Paris, fought homelessness, only to be found by Francis Carmont and Fernand Lopez and the MMA Factory. Francis wanted to learn how to box, but Lopez could see the problems the Predator would be creating inside the cage. I bet I know 17 fighters who would be hating them right now. Where most fighters take years to improve their craft in the game, like Joe Rogan said, he learns techniques like a sponge. It's like he just keeps getting better with each fight. If you look at his first fight with Curtis Blades compared to his last encounter with Cyril Gane, it's night and day.
He's going to extreme couture, more effective.
He didn't just rely on his knockout artistry, but beat Gane at his own grapple game. He was the first fighter ever to take the French heavyweight down in his entire career, lifting that 250-pound frame like it was nothing, and he continued this display of wrestling brilliance until the 5th round of the fight. Gane tried to catch the Cameroonian's legs, but his strength was just too much for the champion. Needless to say, Ngannou won the bout via a unanimous decision. He even has a few submission wins on his tally. While most of them came early on in his career, his most notable vice was when he caught Anthony Hamilton in a vicious Kimura, which he apparently learned backstage right before he walked out to fight. Honestly, he may just be the greatest heavyweight of all time. I mean, think about it. If you think of who the GOAT is in the division right now, it's Stipe Miocic. Jon Jones said it himself. As the current champion continues on his pursuit to get his hands on the part-time firefighter, people are already talking about how that fight is going to end badly for the man dubbed greatest of all time. Well, when it comes to Ngannou, he pretty much settled the debate the last time he faced Miocic. Do you think Jon Jones proved his greatness by submitting Cyril Gane? Oops, Ngannou's done that too. It's a shame we didn't get to see Jon Jones take on Ngannou to really settle this question once and for all. Even Bones admitted on the Wild Ride podcast that he finds the 36-year-old scary, and that there's a very good chance that he could break his jaw. He added, breaking down his game plan on how he'd win the fight, and that would involve getting through round 1 and avoiding those hands. Looking at Ngannou's highlight reel of carnage, the odds of Jones dodging that menacing barrage of strikes looks pretty slim. Anywho, even if Ngannou may not be the GOAT of the heavyweight division, he is without a doubt the baddest man on the planet, and that's why everyone is scared of Francis Ngannou.
Heavyweight champion of the world, Francis the Predator!
Tonight, I'm just gonna celebrate with my team out here. Everyone put in work, stay around supporting me.